All right, welcome back. You guys are cruising. So in this video, I want to talk to you about the difference between a bot and a broadcast. I think most people don't realize that they're one and the same, really. A bot is both of these, but we're going to call one of them reactive and one of them proactive. And I know I've mentioned this before, but it's worth really diving into and figuring out what that actually means, reactive and proactive, and how those things are going to play in together. And there's rules for how these things work. So I want to talk about some of the rules about how these things work. So first off, you have, with any bot, you have 24 hours to market. 22 hours to market. And what that really means is you can send marketing messages for only 24 hours after somebody is active in your bot. I want to explain how this works and why using a bot software, a Chatmatic, something of this nature, why it's going to be so important for what you do with bots, because not only is it going to make it easier to build them, but it also helps you maintain this compliance that you want. And so I want to explain this because this is where a lot of people get really confused, like, well, how do I do that? So let's just go ahead and kind of play around with a scenario, okay? We're going to say Mary, Tom, Joseph, and Allie, all of them message your page on the same day, right? So within 24 hours, I can have a bot proactively reach out to them and say, hey, thanks for messaging our page, here's some stuff, and that can contain marketing material. However, after 24 hours, now here's where it gets crazy, right? So right away, we've got our 24-hour window, right? Now, let's say in that window, we send the message, all of them get it, and Mary and Joseph take action on that, meaning they click a button in the message that I just sent them, or they respond in some way. Well, whenever they do that, it reopens the 24-hour window. So when they take action, we have another 24-hour window to market to them, right? So as you can see, now we're 48 hours in, potentially 48 hours in. If they open this message and click on it at 24 hours, they'll get another 24, so that would be 48 hours. But there's always a new 24-hour path. Let's say Mary takes that 24-hour path 2 more times, right? 2 more times. Now, let's say this is 72 hours after I sent the original message. If I wanted to send broadcasts to all 4 of these people, let's say they're in one list, and I chose to send to that list, and I said, this is a marketing message. Only Mary would get the marketing message by default, because a system like Chatmatic will remove everybody who hasn't been active within 24 hours, because that's the rule that Facebook gave us on the Messenger side. So we cannot send marketing related messages after the 24-hour window. That 24-hour window is individual to the person, right? So what's great though is now so if I sent a marketing message, I might only reach, we'll put a little star next to Mary. If I sent a marketing message, I'm only going to send that. Now, let's just say, for instance, I'm sending a notification. I've got a live video coming up on YouTube. I want to announce it to all of my subscribers, all 4 of them. And so if I say this is a notification, which it is, I'm not marketing a product, I'm not selling anything or sending a link to a product page. This is a notification. Well, now everybody will get that message, because now it's a notification, and that's the 2 rules when it comes to proactive, right? So when it comes to broadcasts, you've got that 24-hour window for marketing messages, right? So I just described how you can actually play out the marketing messages, but you have unlimited window for notifications. Okay, so now again, once you've gone through the last video, you know all the entry points that are available to you. So if somebody subscribes to a landing page that you built, and I'll go on this side of this little thing. If somebody subscribes to a landing page that you built, or if they message your fan page, or if they scan a scan code, or if they do any of these things, then when you go in to send this message, this proactive broadcast, these are the rules that you're going to play by. A bot doesn't have these same rules when it's reactive. So again, what we really want to focus on is proactive. Proactive equals rules. Reactive equals, this is more of an actual bot. And I'm going to put that in quotations because when we think about what a bot is short for robot, right? Robots do as they're told. They have input and that gives output. That's why we call it a bot, because it's expecting some input so that it can then have an output response. So it's waiting for somebody to message your page and they say, hey, I love you. And you could have a bot that says, if somebody says, I love you, respond with, I love you too. And now you've got this bot that can constantly engage in conversation. But again, it's a bot. It doesn't have the same rules as a broadcast because they're actually engaging with your page. So it's almost like having a permanent 24-hour window, right? So I can always send marketing messages when somebody messages me. But if I'm messaging them, I have these notification-based rules. And so there is one more really cool rule that you should know, which is and this makes things way more confusing, a one-time, I'm going to call it get out of jail free card, a goof. Get out of jail free. Yeah, a Googa. We're going to call it a Googa. So you do get a one-time get out of jail free card from Facebook, which means now let's look at this scenario again. Now, everybody has been inactive. We're looking at this now, we're going to say 96 hours, right? Everybody here is now inactive. They haven't responded to a message from me within 96 hours. I can go to inside of a Chatmatic-like platform. If I'm sending a broadcast and it's a marketing message, let's say I've got a really big Black Friday sale and I want everybody to know about it. I can do what's called, I can use my get out of jail free card or my one-time marketing broadcast send. Facebook gives you this just one time at random per customer, the ability to market to them outside of the 24-hour window. Now, here's what's going to happen. You will have, inside of most bot platforms, you're going to have like a little modal here where you would, a little checkbox, right? So if I check this, that means that it's only going to go to the notification people. Or if I check this, it's the 24-hour rule. Well, I also have a checkbox for the one-time get out of jail free. This is still a marketing message type of thing. And so what would happen there is it would go into the system and it would say, okay, now everybody who's never received the get out of jail free message is now eligible to be broadcast to and marketed products. So what would happen is you would select this and now all 4 of these people would get your marketing message. But what happens is you've now used that get out of jail free card for these 4 people. Now, if Alex opts in, right, and he's been, and now we go another 96 hours, I could still select this one-time message, but the only person who would receive it is Alex because we've used up our one-time get out of jail free card on our other subscribers on that list. So just remember, when you use the one-time message on a broadcast, that it means one time per subscriber. You can use it as frequently as you would like, but it's only going to send a marketing message to people who are inside of the 24 hours or that have never received the one-time get out of jail free message, so to speak, if you will give me that name, the Googa. But when you select it, systems like a Chatmatic will automatically remove the people who are ineligible to receive that message, and it will no longer let them be a part of that broadcast. Now, with bots, we've got the ability to have them trigger on many different events, right? So a bot might trigger based off of, and we're going to go here, and I'm just going to say bot trigger events, right? The bot can trigger off of multiple events. It could be a keyword, right? So now anytime somebody types the word hi, you could respond with, hi, how can I help you? It will actually look for an individual action from the end user. A bot could also trigger when somebody opens a chat with you. You can have what's called a welcome message. So I'm just going to put welcome here. So now anytime somebody goes to your page upon their own free will and they message your page, you can have a welcome message get sent to them, which is like, hey, thanks for messaging my page, blah, blah, blah. You can have what we call an auto response. So I'm just going to write auto. The auto response is basically somebody messages your page and says, hey, I'm looking for this. If you don't have a keyword response laden in there that would catch this message, what's going to happen is your auto response can kick in. So you might say something like, hey, thanks so much for messaging our page. We're not here at the moment, but we'll be responding to you within a couple of minutes. This way they at least know that you're there. One of the best uses for auto responses, in my opinion, is you would take this opportunity to actually send them a marketing message. Somebody markets to you, or somebody messages you and says something that you don't have a keyword system in place for. Well, you can market to them and give them, other information, marketing messages. You can give them links to your website, phone numbers, all kinds of stuff that, a lot of people are probably overlooking the power of this automatic message, because you can give a lot of information to your client. So there's all of these different trigger events. Basically, a normal bot is going to react to anything that happens in Messenger. A broadcast is going to be you proactively giving them a bot-like message. The last thing I want to kind of focus on here is a broadcast and a bot are technically the same thing. At the end of the day, it is a message that can be responded to, and it can trigger multiple different events. So you can actually use them together. And we do that quite often, where I just talked in the last video about entry points. We have one where if somebody comments on one of our posts, it then sends them a message and says, hey, to ensure that you're a real person, I want you to type the word Chatmatic, and when you do that, I'll give you the rest of the information. And so now when they type the word Chatmatic, our bot says, hey, they just typed the word Chatmatic, send them this message. And so you can see that's an example of one working as another. And you can also do that with broadcasts. You could send somebody a broadcast that says, hey, I'm getting ready to go live, click the button below to get more information. And when they click that button, now you're able to set up a message that consistently goes back and forth and feeds them more information. It also now opens up the 24-hour marketing message, right? The 24-hour marketing window. Now, once they've taken an action on your first broadcast, whether they've responded to you or they've clicked a button, they've re-engaged that bot. Now you have a new 24-hour window. Again, playing this scenario, every broadcast that you send could potentially reopen that window. So that's why we tell people all the time, one of the things that you really, really want to do with Messenger is keep them engaging. Don't just say, hey, I'm doing this, come check it out, because people will get bored of your messages and stop listening to you. So that's absolutely one of the things that you want to make sure that you do is stay engaging, make sure that you're giving people what they want. Try thinking about coming up with a broadcast style message that is several days or weeks long that's just content. Get people to subscribe to your bot content. Now, when you go to broadcast to them, whether it's a notification or a 24-hour marketing message, well, now they're going to be way more likely to listen to what you have to say just because they've been listening. So bots have a very, very interesting relationship with broadcasts as well with bots. They are one and the same, but they are treated a little differently. And the way that I look at them is bots are reactions and broadcasts are proactive messages being sent out to people in an effort to get them to respond or to be a marketing message, that kind of thing. So hopefully that explains it for all of you guys, and you can understand that they work together, very much work together. They need to be used in similar fashions, but the big takeaway here is every broadcast has rules. You cannot send marketing messages outside of 24 hours. And so a lot of people who are using Shopify, they struggle with, well, how do I send notifications about my store? And you're not, like, Facebook uses the example, you are not allowed to send a message that says, hey, we're having a sale, here, use this code at our store. That is a marketing message. Even though you're not linking to anything, that is technically a marketing message. And the last thing I'll leave you with is, while you're being creative on those topics, so the last thing that I want to leave you guys with here is to remember that Facebook polices this activity very simply by user engagement. If the users aren't engaging with your message, and if they're voting or giving you bad feedback, which there's a feedback channel in every messenger, if they're giving you bad feedback and they're giving you ones and they're complaining and they're giving feedback to Facebook that you send too many marketing messages, that's really the way that they kind of police it. So you may be able to get away with sending marketing messages when you have a small page using the notification broadcast. I wouldn't suggest it. I'm just saying that if you did it a couple of times, you may end up getting away with it. I just don't want you to think that, oh, well, I can always do this and I'll just always lie and say it's a notification, because that's where you end up getting shut down, and that's where you'll end up having a lot of problems. So try to avoid that. Stay within the rules when you're doing a broadcast. Make sure that you utilize bots to the best of your capabilities. They are a very, very powerful thing to keep engaging with your users. And that's it for this. Bots versus broadcast. Know the rules, play by them, and you guys can have a lot of success with Messenger.